All right, so get ready because we're about to jump into one of the NFL's biggest debates right now.
Yeah.
Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Who is really the MVP?
Big question.
And you know what makes this even more interesting? These guys are going head-to-head this weekend in the playoffs.
Well, that's right. And what's really interesting about all this is
Really?
it goes so much deeper than just looking at the stats. But don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be looking at the numbers, too.
Okay.
We've got this recent article from FOX Sports with these two NFL reporters going back and forth, breaking down each player's argument.
Right.
And get this.
Yeah.
They actually agree on who they think has the higher potential long term.
Wow.
But it might not be who you think.
Okay, I am very intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
First, can you give us some context from the article? Yeah. Like, where are these guys coming from?
Both quarterbacks were drafted in the first round back in 2018.
Oh, wow.
Same draft class.
Okay. Faced a lot of doubts early on. Yeah. Now they're leading their teams to the playoffs, considered two of the best. That's right. In the entire league. Yeah. And this playoff game coming up is actually their second meeting. Oh, wow. The Bills won the first one back in 2020. That's right. Wow, to see how they've kind of exceeded expectations. It really is. But let's get into the arguments for Josh Allen now.
All right.
The article highlights his stats, which are phenomenal. Oh, yeah. Even with, maybe weaker receivers than Lamar Jackson has down in Baltimore.
Yeah, they made the point that he beat Patrick Mahomes this season.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not easy to do.
That's a big deal.
It is.
Can't forget that clutch factor either.
Oh, yeah.
What makes him so successful in these pressure situations?
Well, the article talks about his ability to make plays when they matter most, especially on third and fourth down.
Yeah.
They even break down this game-winning run he had against the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Like he just refuses to give up.
And that leadership,
Right.
it's contagious.
Oh, for sure.
It really is.
I feel like that Chiefs play really shows what makes Allen so special. It's like he thrives in these moments, these pressure moments.
Absolutely.
But there's got to be a downside, right?
Well, yeah, there is a flip side to that aggressive, powerful style.
Okay.
The reporters actually call it the Bash Brother approach.
Bash brother?
Bash Brother, yeah.
Okay.
And they have some concerns about it.
Okay.
Like, how long can he keep this up?
Right.
They even compared it to Cam Newton,
Oh.
whose career was really hurt by injuries.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the long-term impact
Yeah, for sure.
of that physical style of play.
Like a double-edged sword in a way.
You could say that.
So effective, but could lead to some problems down the road.
Could.
All right, well, let's switch over to Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
What's his case?
Well, statistically,
Yeah.
he had a phenomenal season.
Yeah, he did. We're talking record-breaking touchdown to interception ratio
Wow.
and the most rushing yards ever
Ever.
by a quarterback.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's really redefining what it means to be a dual-threat quarterback.
But the article asks,
Yeah.
is he the gold standard for dual-threat quarterbacks? Or is Allen just as dangerous?
Yeah.
Or even more so?
Right, and that is where the two reporters
Yeah.
really start to disagree.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting.
It does.
Okay, how are their styles different?
Well, we've talked about Allen being more of a powerhouse runner, right?
Right.
Jackson, on the other hand.
Yeah.
He's so elusive
Right.
and agile. Like,
Yes.
it's so hard to tackle this guy.
Yeah.
In fact, the article quotes someone saying that Allen's style might actually instill more fear in defenses.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just yards and touchdowns.
Right.
It's how they impact the game in different ways.
Exactly.
It sounds like Allen's physicality adds a psychological element
Yeah.
that Jackson's speed and agility might not.
You could say that. Yeah.
I mean, if you were a defensive coordinator, who would you rather go up against?
That's a great question.
It's a great question and one we should think about
Yeah.
as we dive deeper into this debate.
For sure.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so we've got these two super talented quarterbacks, right? Each with their own unique style and impact on the game.
Definitely.
But here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
When the reporters talked about long-term potential, they both agreed that Jackson actually has the edge.
It is a little bit surprising with Allen being in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, so why did they think that? Why Jackson over Allen long-term?
Well, they pointed to a couple of things.
Okay.
First, they say Jackson's style, all that agility and elusiveness.
Yeah.
It's probably easier on his body
Makes sense.
than Allen's more physical approach.
Right. We've seen those big hits
Yeah.
take their toll on guys.
It's true.
Could mean a longer, healthier career for Jackson.
Exactly.
Which is, huge.
Huge for any quarterback.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Another thing they highlighted was Jackson's growth as a passer.
Yeah.
Especially under his offensive coordinator, Todd Monken.
Right.
He's not just relying on his legs.
Yeah.
He's developing his throwing abilities, too.
Which will only make him more dangerous down the line.
Exactly.
Did they also talk about the coaching situation?
They did.
Yeah.
They brought up John Harbaugh.
Jackson's coach.
Yeah, over in Baltimore.
Who's got a Super Bowl ring.
Yep, and a reputation for, stability.
Right.
Leadership.
They contrasted that with Allen's situation in Buffalo.
They did. Where Sean McDermott is a good coach.
For sure.
But he hasn't quite reached that same level of success.
Yeah, you gotta think about the coach's impact, too.
You do.
On a young quarterback.
It can make a big difference.
So maybe they see that as an advantage for Jackson.
Right.
More stability.
Consistent leadership.
Yeah.
Could
be a factor in the long run.
Could be.
It's really interesting how it's more than just stats.
It really is.
When you're thinking about a quarterback's potential.
Yeah.
So Allen's a top contender for MVP now. But they think Jackson might have a higher ceiling in the long run.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay. So let's talk about this weekend's playoff game.
All right.
What were the reporters predicting?
Well, one reporter thinks Allen's going to play a smarter game.
Okay.
More controlled this time around.
Okay.
Leading the Bills to victory.
Okay.
The other reporter thinks Jackson's going to have a breakout game.
Oh, wow.
Finally silencing the critics.
About his playoff record.
Exactly.
So, one vote for experience and clutch play.
Yeah.
One vote for raw talent and motivation.
That's right.
What's interesting is that both reporters said a better performance.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily equal a win.
That's very true.
There are so many other factors. Coaching, defense, special teams.
A little luck never hurts either.
A little bit of luck, right?
Yeah.
It really is a team sport.
It is.
One player can't win it all on their own.
Even a quarterback.
Even a superstar quarterback.
Yeah.
And don't forget about that psychological factor.
Right.
We talked about earlier. The article emphasized that Jackson, he knows about those criticisms.
Right. He's heard it all.
Of his playoff performances.
He wants to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, this all ties back to legacy. Neither quarterback has a Super Bowl ring.
That's right.
And that's how we measure greatness a lot of times.
It's true, especially for quarterbacks.
But despite Allen's talent, it seems like the reporters think Jackson will ultimately be remembered as the greater quarterback.
They do seem to think that.
But they did say Allen could change that narrative.
Oh, yeah.
With a Super Bowl win.
Of course a Super Bowl win changes everything.
Right. Just imagine the impact it would have on his legacy.
Huge.
One dominant playoff run can change history.
It's happened before.
That's what makes the NFL so exciting.
You never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so we've talked about their stats.
Yeah.
Their leadership. Their potential for growth.
Right.
Even touched on their legacies.
Yeah.
What does it all mean for you, the listener?
That's the big question.
What are the key takeaways?
Right.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is there's no easy answer in this debate.
Yeah.
We've got two incredibly talented guys.
Right.
But it's about way more than just the stats.
It is.
Like their playing styles, their potential for growth, even the coaching situation. All these factors are important when you're trying to figure out who will have a bigger impact on the game long term.
It's like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
We're comparing two totally different ways
Right.
of playing the quarterback position.
I like that.
It really makes you think.
It does.
What makes a great quarterback?
Right.
Is it all about talent and athleticism? Or is it more about leadership and consistency over time?
And that's what makes this playoff matchup so exciting.
Oh, for sure.
It's like these two different philosophies going head-to-head, Allen with his explosive plays, that fearless style versus Jackson, elusive and agile.
So hard to catch.
Right.
And his passing game is getting better and better.
This game could be a real turning point.
Oh, yeah, it could.
For both of them. A win for Allen.
Yeah.
It would show everyone he can win in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Quiet those doubters.
Silence them.
But for Jackson,
a
win would be huge.
It would.
It would prove he can lead a team to a championship.
Right.
And think about what this game could do for their legacies.
Oh, yeah.
Neither one has a Super Bowl ring yet.
That's true.
And that's what everyone remembers.
That's the ultimate prize.
Right. Especially for a quarterback.
For sure.
This game is like a step towards that legacy-defining goal. But even beyond this game, we get a lot to look forward to from both of these guys.
We do. They're both so talented.
It's going to be fun watching them evolve.
It really is.
Adapt and push the boundaries of what's possible at quarterback.
It's an exciting time to be an NFL fan.
So as you're watching this weekend's game,
keep
in mind everything we talked about today.
For sure.
Their stats, their leadership, their potential, and those coaching situations.
That's all connected.
And here's the big question.
Okay.
If you were an NFL general manager, who would you build your franchise around right now?
Oh, wow.
And why?
It's a tough choice.
It is.
One of them easy is.
Right. It all comes down to your philosophy.
Yeah.
What do you value in a quarterback?
Exactly.
Proven talent. Or maybe a rising star with a higher ceiling.
Something to think about.
It is. It might keep you up at night.
Yeah, especially after this game.
It's going to be a good one.
I can't wait.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, it was fun.
Into the debate around Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Two incredible quarterbacks.
It's been a real pleasure.
Likewise.